Welcome back. It has been 1 year since I began servicing my Konica Minolta 1200 Pro by myself. In today's video, I'm going to break it down so you can see the good, the bad. Should you do it? Am I happy? Am I sad? Just talk about how that experience was. So in the last year, I have printed about 2 million clicks on the 1200. So about 1 million sheets of paper went through that. And it ended up saving me a decent amount of money, which I'll go over a little bit later as far as what I had to purchase to put into that. But it's all about record keeping. You got to keep good records. The parts that you buy, how much you pay for them. One thing I should keep track of, which I don't, shame on me, is the amount of time it takes me to actually perform the service. That's one piece of information that would actually be useful. I should probably start doing that, but oh well. So I buy all my parts online through multiple vendors. I like to check out eBay, but I also, there's, 3 or 4, if you just Google the part number that you're looking for, there's always somebody selling it, and you can just pick whoever you want to buy it from. But I've kept on hand what I use the most, and it should be proportional. So I tallied up, and I think I bought over 30 containers of toner, so I keep a good bit of that on stock. Right here I have 5 right now, and I actually have some on the way because I like to have tons of that. And there has been supply shortages over the last year, and there will be into the future as well. So sometimes parts are hard to get a hold of, so I like to have basically what I need on hand that can keep me up and running, so then if I order something and it's on back order for 2 weeks, it's no big deal. So I keep a lot of toner. I have 2 drums here ready to roll, but as long as you have a drum and a developer on there, you'll be good to go. But then I have plenty of staples. I have a fuser roller here. That's a lower fuser roller, and I have a used upper fuser roller. And then I have a PM kit, which has cleaning blades, charge wires, things like that. I typically like to keep a few cleaning blades on hand too, and they're actually, I have some ordered. They should be here. I just put the last ones on yesterday. It's also good to have some parts on hand. I keep stuff that I deem has life left in it, so I have a fuser here that I can pull parts off of, and other things. Like here's a cleaning unit, and I have an old charge grid down here that just by chance there might be like that one part, like one sensor that I need, but I don't like to keep too much because then I'm just wasting space. This next year is going to be interesting though, because parts in general for all Konica machines went up a fair amount and continue to rise because they're becoming more scarce because of shipping problems and also fires at manufacturing plants and other things. So yeah, I mean, toner for the 1200 doubled in the last year, so it'll be interesting to see how that's going to affect my click cost into the future. And to be honest with you, I'm interested to see how that's going to affect Konica, because of all their service contracts. They can't just increase the click cost for people, but the cost of consumables is going up for them. So, well, that's not my problem, so I guess I won't worry about it. I have thought as well how lumber prices like quadrupled this past year, although they're going back down. If paper is affected by that, and paper would double, even if it doubled, it would hurt a lot. So let's hope that paper prices don't go up too much. run them. Okay, so over the past year, I've kept record, and I have a spreadsheet here of the clicks per month and what I purchased to put in this machine. And I've spent $7,149 worth of parts and consumables to keep this thing running. And from my calculations, that's about half the cost of a contract for that same amount of clicks ran through a machine. Now, the things that I replace the most often is the drum cleaning blade. They get replaced 2 at a time, and they sit in there, and then they'll actually rotate. When one wears out, it'll put another clean blade up against the drum. When you start running for too long and that blade begins to fail, it'll leave a little line of dirt on each sheet that goes through. But oddly enough, it's only the larger sheets. If you do 8.5 by 11 or 11/17, I don't see it that much, but as soon as you get into 12/18 or 12/18 wide, which is 12.25 by 18.25, you start seeing that line, which I do a fair amount of that. But it's no big deal. Those blades are like 20 to 30 bucks a piece, so I've gone through 8 of those. I've replaced 6 drums, 4 developers. I've gone through 2 PM kits, which is like the charge wire and the grid, cleaning web, things like that. I've done 2 upper fuser rollers, 1 lower, and a lamp. And that all actually is documented. If you went back and watched the videos, you can see what I did. And the reality is that consumable cost, that total $7,000, it's actually probably less than that, because I probably have $1,000 to $2,000 worth of parts on the shelf ready to go for the next time something breaks. And if you want to follow along and see the detailed list of this, join my Patreon page. It's all there. You can join for $1 and check it all out. I keep that information for both my color machines and my monochrome machines, and it's very useful in making sure that it makes sense to service the machine myself. Now, the big question is, should you service a machine yourself? And it's going to be up to you. Here's my answer. If you want to service the machine yourself and you really want it, then do it. If you don't feel like doing it and you'd rather have a service contract, do that. Either way, you are still going to be profitable. Whether or not you service it yourself or hire somebody to do it is not going to dictate whether or not you're going to be making a good business choice. It's going to depend on multiple factors. If you have the time to do it and the knowledge, but most important is the willpower, because you're going to have to do some research. You're going to have to learn how to do things. You're going to have to be willing to scratch your head and troubleshoot things. And if you're not willing to do that, by all means, get a service contract and let somebody else do that. There's pros and cons to both, benefits both ways. So really just do what you want. If you'd rather be doing something else in your business and you'd like to farm that out, by all means, do it. You know, it'll work either way. Another thing is, if you are going to start dabbling in fixing your own machines, a black and white machine is a great machine to start with, because it's a lot simpler than a color machine, and it's also a lot cheaper to keep up and running and buy parts for, just as long as they're available. Now, I think the one problem that I had that I spent the most time on was when this was not detecting an empty waste container. And there's a video on that where I took apart the back and I had to figure out which sensor was dirty, and I just had to clean that sensor. But figuring all that out took a good bit of time. Most other things are very quick. Changing cleaning blades, you're looking at like 10 minutes, not even, probably more like 6 minutes, 5 minutes. Same with the drum. A little bit more for developer change. It all goes relatively quickly. The first time it's going to be a little scary, but after then, you just move right along. You do it, and then you keep on running. Okay, over the past year, I've had several opportunities to get another 1200 or similar machine, which would be kind of nice as either a parts machine, as a second machine, even though I don't have the space for it. But I've always turned them down just because I really want to see how long this thing's going to run. And I know eventually I'm going to kick myself because something's going to die on here, and then I'm going to be out a monochrome machine until I can track down a replacement. So far I'm at 24 million here, and I mean, I have 30 million as a goal, so it's going to take another 3 years. 3 more years of running this at the same rate that I currently am running to hit that. I don't know if we'll make it. I mean, I wouldn't see why not, but hey, we'll see. I've shown this before too, but I do keep, just recently I started keeping a paper log of what I do and when, just so I can look back. And it's real handy because I can look back and say, whoa, 2 months ago I replaced a cleaning blade. And typically, you know, I've been replacing a cleaning blade every 2 months. So then I don't feel quite as guilty, and I will throw a part at this machine faster if I know, you know, that it worked in the past or something like that. So typically I'll write like where I am at, flip the cleaning blade. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. So I had to, that's what I did the other day. But yeah, I mean, you can see here, when I threw drums in, and you know, I got 700,000 out of that drum and 900,000 out of that drum. Knowledge is power. Another little thing that will save you some time if you're going to service a machine yourself, I take this front cover off and I just leave it off, because it's just one less thing that I need to take off when I'm going to get in here and do some work. That just saves a little bit of time, and it's really not necessary. I mean, there's actually supposed to be a cover here on the fuser too, and I've left that off. And so far so good. And as far as tools go, is very basic tools are going to be required to service these machines. Screwdriver I keep them on top of the machine, because if I want to do something, I don't want to even have to take 5 steps to get your screwdriver. So that will get you in, and actually is all that's necessary to do most of your servicing. Other tools you might need, I'll just look in my toolbox here. A multimeter would be a good one. That's just to test continuity of wiring. You probably aren't going to need that, but it's good to have and learn how to use anyway, so get one. The other thing would probably be these C-clip pliers to open up a C-clip. Those are used on the ends of rollers. A needle nose comes in handy for springs and things like that that big old fingers can't do. And really the only other thing that I used to keep this thing running in the past year was a soldering iron. I had a connector, a wire fall out of a connector, so I just had to resolder that in there. I don't think I made a video doing that. Sorry. So I guess to sum it up, just do what you want. I mean, if you don't want to mess with it, don't. If it looks like fun to you, then do it. So I mean, I don't necessarily do it just to save the money. I mean, I think it's kind of interesting. It's fun to learn new things. It's a good challenge. I like a good challenge. So there's multiple reasons why I'm doing it here, and it's not just to save a couple bucks. So do whatever makes you happy. And as always, I'm just shooting from my hip while I'm making these videos. So if you think of something that you'd like to share with everybody, please comment below and you know, help us all learn together. But thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.